Life is so good for the soul. Share a moment with a complete stranger or somebody you know. Don't care if you're young or you're old. Sit down and tune into the best show. Lee bringing all the flavor. Interviews getting greater and greater with a nostalgic feel. You know she got the mass appeal. Word up.
And what rooms, what spaces were you working at this time?
Girly, oh my God, New York had Footprints was death to your soul. It's a Jamaican restaurant. Donnell Rawlings was hosting that.
Mm-hmm. Is that how you met him?
No, well, kind of. So I was dating this comedian. Everybody knows I was dating Mark Simmons for years.
Okay.
And that was his man. And he was always go around Rawlings. And then it was time to go to Footprints.
Okay. And
Rawlings booked me on the strength of. But I went up there. Footprints is this Jamaican. You know, Chicago, we don't see much Jamaicans.
Okay.
I don't be understanding. What? What are you saying? Mm-hmm. You can't even understand. I need the subtitle when I first got there. After a couple years, I'm like, yo, want test me? You want to rumble with on beat? And I went up and I just ran through my set. It was scary as hell. And then Rawlings came off stage. She was like, yo, you're wasting your jokes. Get the crowd on your side. Make sure they're paying attention. Then run your jokes. Here your money. I was like, thanks. You my brother. Like, he was my man in there. It was just the energy we had. It was so peace. Mm-hmm. And I made him my friend. I went all the time. I ran into him at Laugh-A-Palooza in Atlanta. I was so nervous. It was the New Faces of Comedy, Laugh-A-Palooza.
Okay. And
I was standing in the lobby like, okay, what bus do I get on? And I heard somebody say, damn, it just let anybody do comedy. I was like, ah! He was there performing. He was on the show because he was an established comic. Mm-hmm. And then we just rocked out ever since. Like, that's my man to him.
Okay.
And, okay, so that's Rawlings. I mean, I don't know, I was just in New York. I think I did 10 years in New York. Mm-hmm. I think I was in jail. I did a bit.
So at what point did you start going overseas with the troops?
See, okay, first, before I was performing for the troops, I did, oh, wow. Okay, this is what happened. It was this promoter, Ben. I don't know how we hooked up with Ben. Ben was just booking comics to come over and do a run in Germany and then go to Amsterdam. Damn, I'm mixing up everything. Regilio and Ben is two different joints. When you're working comic, you just get the call.
Okay.
So I went and did Amsterdam and Rotterdam. Mm-hmm. And then another trip I went with Ben. He booked Dawn B, Vanessa Fraction, and Pat Brown.
Okay.
Damn, that was a joint right there. Pat Brown was one of my most favorite comics. I saw her first at the Miller Junior Draft Comedy Center because she placed. Mm-hmm. And I was like, she's brilliant. Mm-hmm. You know Pat Brown? You heard Pat Brown? Uh-huh. Oh, she's jamming. So I learned a lot on that trip. Because Vanessa and I started nearly at the same time.
In Chicago
together. Not even together. She started right after I did, I think. Mm-hmm. It wasn't too many people that started when we started. Mm-hmm. It was Michi, Wildcat, Lil Rel, then Dawn, then Vanessa.
Okay.
So only 5 of us in our class. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we all was dope. So then I'm chilling, I'm working. Mike Yard took me to Haiti, which was crazy. Because there was so many white people.
In Haiti?
In Haiti.
Okay.
That's what I said. Are y'all Haitian? He was like, yeah, stop by say. I'm like, they don't show y'all niggas on CNN. Like, I had no idea it was that many Haitian whites. Yeah. And I don't know, I was kind of thrown off by it because driving through Haiti was disturbingly effed up.
And what time period?
It was after the earthquake. It was 2 years after.
05? Like 05-ish?
Is the earthquake happened in 05?
I think so. I think it's incorrect though.
Okay, let's say it happened in 05. I went late 06 and it was still like it just happened. Mm. Like, oh my God, like the streets, the concrete, everything was just tore down, and people were it was just, the tents were still on the Prime Minister's lawn, like hundreds of tents. People were displaced. It was disturbing, and they had us working. The promoter wanted to raise money for an orphanage. And then they took us. We drove through all that. And we went to this beautiful resort. Beautiful. Oh my damn. So much food. Like I wanted to take the table and go back to mainland because those people were hungry. It was just home. And I'm kind of sensitive. I'm really sensitive. People know me. I'll be crying. But I'm tough. But I'm sensitive. Anyway, one thing we did 2 shows, but we stayed for like 4 days because it was only 1 plane a week that went to Haiti. Delta, 1 plane, so that was an experience. Now I'm at a point where I can headline.
Okay.
Or not necessarily headline, close the show.
Okay.
Because originally when I got to New York, they would say, get here before this time or you can't go up. You know, because I wasn't strong enough. And they was like, yo, just get here when you can. Because it's like, I'm in Harlem, I can't make it to the Bronx. They was like, just get here when you can. I'm like, oh, shit.
When you start to see the tide change. Okay.
Yeah. I remember graduating and getting my weight up. I remember. And then Daniel Dugar was booking Japan. I fast forward. This is all the way. I fast forward. Because this is when I went to perform. Damn, I'm sorry. You guys making me remember things. Because no, I started going overseas with Ben. I went twice. Because we did Guam, Japan, and then we did Guam and Japan again. The 3rd time I went is when I was on top of the world.
Okay.
Everybody was checking for Dawn B.
Okay.
But I had traveled so much, I was like, damn, I need a man.
Okay.
I would come home like, oh, nothing. I didn't get none of this exciting vagina away. I couldn't, it was just nobody. And I was like, praying for it. Come on, son, you gotta give it up to somebody. No, you don't. But I was like, damn, if I pray for a career, will I not have a family? If I pray for a family, will I not have a career? And I was in Japan. And the last day, I was over there for like 14 days in Okinawa. I did Fuji, then we did Okinawa. And God was like, here. And I met my husband at work.
Okay. What did he do?
He's a Marine.
Okay.
He was a Marine on Kim Hansen. It was the last date of the tour.
And was he American? Where was he from?
Oh yeah, he's a very black man from North Carolina. Very much so.
Okay.
But I had opened my heart though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I said, you want to get off these streets? Because that was my catchphrase. To get my life together, get off these streets. I feel like I'm talking a lot. Help me out.
No, this is exactly what you are here for. To share your experience, share your journey.
Well, okay, so I met Staff Sergeant Finance. Is what I kept calling him. Hey, Staff Sergeant Finance. So we didn't have that much time because I was flying out the next morning. So we just hung out all night. And we just chatted, and when I landed in New York, because that's where I was living, I had a message from him.
An email? How did you get the message?
Email.
Okay. Because I know we still at a different time.
Yeah. It was an email.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not responding. Shit, I live in New York. He in Japan. What's the point? But then I couldn't stop thinking about him. So I ghosted him, basically. So about a month later, I hit him like, what happened? I thought we fell in love, was going to get married. Act like I didn't get his message. And then we just talked every single day. And it was Skype. I had to Skype him then.
Okay.
And 6 months later, we got married.
So then he come to...
I went back to visit him. And then his orders were up. He got stationed in California. But he had like a month off. And he came to New York. I said, all right, if we make it through this month, we get married. And we did. Barely. I should have paid attention to the signs.
So I want to pause for a moment because you highlighted something that I think many people who have a dream may even relate to, where it's like this or that. Like, how do you make both of your worlds exist? And I heard you mention, like, you know, feeling like if I have a career, will I not have love? Seeming like you almost had to sacrifice one for the other. Is that what you experienced? So now that you have this companion and you get married, like how's it working with your career?
Okay, so what happened to me is like when you go through things that essentially like it alters your life, marriage and children, my body felt different. Like my brain and logic changed. Like, and I wanted to be a great wife.
Okay.
And if I'm being a great wife, now I'm not having the gigs. I'm not going out. On top of that, like I moved to California. I was living in New York. He was stationed in San Diego.
Okay.
It's not much comedy. It's not paid comedy. In fact, in San Diego, it's no comedy.
At that time.
Now, still probably.
Okay.
I mean, just not like New York. New York, you can go to the bodega and do a show.
Okay.
You know, like it's everywhere, every night.
Okay.
It's a whole different vibe. It's high pace, high energy. I get to the West Coast, they like, namaste. I'm like, but you bumped me. And he was like, chill, we do yoga over here. I'm like, oh, okay, sir, alright, whatever. And I had this whole adjustment. It was just like, now I'm sitting with this man. I think I was like borderline depressed for like the first few months.
Was that because there was no comedy there?
Both. I had changed, my entire world changed.
Okay.
And I would pop up like, I gotta move my car. You know, in New York, it's alternate side street parking. And I'm like, oh, you're in the parking garage. You know, like everything was just like crazy, and it was different. And I had to be a great wife. And then the jokes that you tell, like I was watching Rihanna at the Super Bowl, right? She just wasn't feeling it. All right, she was pregnant, sure, but what happens when you get married and then you have these children, it's a chemical that changes, and like you can't talk about the same things. She wasn't feeling her lyrics. It was not a boy, can you get it up? She was like, I got a whole man and a baby. This is what it felt like to me from my experience. Because I was no longer single, sexy, and free running around New York. And that was my bit. I get my life together, get out of these streets. Now, mind you, I knew my set so well, I could say it, but my heart wasn't in it. Because it wasn't true anymore.
So do you feel like that translated, like to the audience, that they can sense that was no longer your authentic feelings in the moment?
Yeah.
And when you noticed that, like, what did that do while you were on stage?
On stage, then it made me now talk about my real life.
Okay.
And I'm like, I ain't fucking no more. Like, I ain't even a hoe no more. My husband turned her into a housewife. Like, I had to now evolve. And that's the hardest thing, coming up with jokes. A set, solid. But because I was a solid comedian, I was able to do it, and I was able to still work. That's at that time, I'm opening for Charlie Murphy now.
Okay.
So I would go out every weekend.
Now, how did, because I wanted to ask that, how did opening for Charlie come about? Charlie Murphy, I don't know him.
Rest in peace, Charlie. I was in Chicago.
Okay.
Like I was hanging with Donnell. I always rock with Donnell. And we went to, all right, here we go. Here it is. Here's how it went. Because Charlie Murphy was fine to me, honey. And if I almost don't say that, I always got to fix my hair. So I went to the Chappelle show, taping of the Chappelle show.
Okay.
And we were going back up to Donnell's room, his green room. And Charlie was on that stage. He was in the elevator. And this has nothing to do with how I opened for him. I just wanted to say that he was fine. He had this yellow diamond necklace with this yellow polo shirt on. I was like, damn! He was like, Nelson, who is this? Because I was like on him, like, who is Nelson? Donnell, son. He used to call him Nell's son.
Oh, okay.
Nelson.
Got you.
My bad.
I was like, is that his bodyguard?
Okay. It was actually Donnell.
Okay.
So that's when I met him, Charlie. So fast forward maybe a month or two, I don't know the time. And I was in New York. I remember it was February because I don't know. Charlie was playing the Improv in Schaumburg.
Okay.
And I was like, Donnell, Charlie at the Improv, tell him I'm coming through. And nope, hold on. This is what that did happen. But before that, Charlie was he was going to Germany or someplace, and he wanted a female comic. He called Nelson, and Donnell told him to take me.
Okay.
Charlie said no.
Okay.
I said, okay, damn, wow, like, fuck it. So now I got something to prove. So he's playing the Improv in Schaumburg, and I called Rawlings, like, yo, tell him I'm coming up in that. And I did, and he gave me 5. He was like, damn, you funny. Man, Nelson told me to take you. I should have took you. Can you do the rest of the weekend? I was like, yeah. but I was supposed to leave in the morning. Because I went to New York.
Okay.
And I didn't have it to change the flight then. It was like, whatever.
Right.
I said, Donnell.
$1 million.
So I called Donnell like, yo, he wanted me to do the whole weekend, but my flight is tomorrow. Well, son, if it was me, I would stay. I said, I can't afford it. He said, call you back. I don't know. He called Jason, his manager, whatever. They changed my flight. Like, he paid for it. He was like, now whatever, bitch. He
Shout out to Donnell.
Peace. He did it. He gave me the money, changed my flight, and I changed it, and I did the whole weekend with Charlie Murphy, and he kept me. And I was on the road with him for years.
Wow.
And then I got fired because I talked too much. I got fired for a little while, but anyway, it was time because he was taking Free's Love out with him too. So you need variety. Sometimes things get played out. He was tired of looking at my face, and I did talk a lot. I was real hyper, like I would just say shit, just whatever. And certain headliners, you don't get so comfortable that you don't pay attention to you not respecting the room, like the green room, or not realizing that the rules, because he was like a clean room. He got off stage and was plates and stuff like, and if you're so comfortable, you don't realize there's plates that you could have taken out. That's just one example. So anyway,
am I hearing you describe like green room etiquette for him, or just in terms of your relationship, just like maintaining a proper balance?
All of the above.
Okay.
I mean, because we developed a great friendship from that, because we were together so much. And you just have to know people.
Right.
I would know what upset Charlie, because Charlie would when he got upset, you just go have a seat, just have a seat, because he's on one right now. But sometimes I would just be like, oh, why are you so mad? Damn! Like, shut your ass up, dog. Sit the hell down. And so he needed a break. I always say I get fired. He'd be like, I've never fired you, blackness. He would call me black. I'm like, nobody's darker than you, Charlie. You darkness for a reason. He tried to make it stick, but I miss Charlie. Then I went back on the road with Rawlings. And I mean, it was love drunk. Damn, it came a long time. And I'm still whack. No, I'm just playing. Not whack. But anyway, so no, listen. So Charlie now introduces me to D.L. Hugley.
Okay, hold on, because we were making a connection with your marriage, and you traveling with comedy. Want to be a good wife and then being a comedian. So now,
well, this is it too, because.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
I was still following.
Well, let me just because when he introduced me to D.L. Hugley, as the one to look at, D.L. took me on the road for a couple months. And then, like, whenever he was in town, I just go sit with him. So this one time, I was sitting with D.L. Hugley at Caroline's Comedy Club. I love Caroline's Comedy Club. Rest in peace of Caroline's. They closed January 1st, 2023. And we were sitting at the bar. He lit his cigar. He was like, you can smoke that? I'm like, nah, I'm darn me not D.L. Hugley. They're not even going to ban me from this club. You can smoke a cigar, D.L. So he just said, Dawn, go start your family. You need that. I can feel it, see it. You're funny. It will always be a spot here for you. Always. Next up to bat. Like, he almost made me not do it. Because he made me feel like I was on the brink of stardom. And he was just like, when you get back, when you finish doing whatever you need to get out of you, you have a spot in this comedy game. You earned it.